With the Bitcoin spot ETFs only days away, not everything is as it seems. Let's roll that intro and get right down into it. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another walk and talk video where I'm discussing what is going on and what my expectations are with the Bitcoin and the crypto market as we have these Bitcoin spot ETF decisions. Now, as you guys know, this week is a critical week for Bitcoin and for the crypto market. The SEC is set to make its decision on numerous Bitcoin spot ETFs. These are the exchange-traded funds. Now, a lot of hype and expectations have been, I guess, how do I articulate this? Asserted against the Bitcoin spot ETFs. Ultimately, a lot of people are hyped up and have been FOMOing into the market, expecting Bitcoin to rocket to new all-time highs on the SEC's approval of these Bitcoin spot ETFs. However, not everything is as it seems, and for the most part, and as I have articulated many times already on this channel, my expectations are more a sell the news event. But we have the data to back this up. We don't just pluck numbers out of the air, we are looking at the data and making educated and informed decisions to the best of our abilities. And so what we've done is we've kind of gone backwards in time, looking at various different components to Bitcoin's price action. Now, it's true that Bitcoin's price action in itself has been very interesting as of late. We saw 2022 break a lot of the Bitcoin trends that we had seen previously, such as breaking down lower than the previous all-time high for the first time in Bitcoin history. The bear market also retraced deeper than the 1.236 fib scale, which is something else that Bitcoin hadn't done previously. So in the previous cycle lows, we had seen a lot of consistency from the 2013 bullish market through to the bear market ahead of the 2017 bullish run. We saw a lot of the kind of things that I guess a lot of people took for granted back in the terms of the previous cycles into 2022 and 2023. We saw a lot of retail investors getting wrecked by basically just assuming history was repeating itself. And well, this is going to be quite a contradictory statement because I think potentially here, Bitcoin is likely to repeat itself, but it's not as people are expecting. Like I say, people are really bullish on Bitcoin and the crypto market based on the SEC's decision for Bitcoin spot ETF approvals. But most logical or analytical people, when they look at the data for Bitcoin, they kind of come to the same conclusion. There's a lot of the reasons why you might be bearish rather than bullish based on the SEC's decision. Whether that is an approval, rejection, or even just a delay, they all kind of lead to the same outcome. Ultimately, we're looking for Bitcoin to retest some of its previous supports. And this is the buy the dip opportunity that I've been talking about for the last couple of months or so. This shouldn't be new to any of you guys who are OGs of the channel. If you're new, then this might be the first time you're hearing about it, in which case take note, because ultimately I'm expecting Bitcoin to retrace down towards the $30,000 level. That might be a shocker to many retail investors who have been kind of FOMOing in around the 40k area, but ultimately I think a nice healthy correction towards 30k is something that we should be expecting. But let's roll back towards that data that I was talking about. So Bitcoin, historically speaking, and why I think this video is kind of hypocritical, because I do think history is repeating itself in this particular aspect rather than in previous aspects of Bitcoin's price analysis. In historical videos, I've been talking about how history isn't really repeating itself from the price action, right? Ultimately, going down lower than the 1.382 fib scale, which is something that hadn't happened in Bitcoin's history, kind of means that you have to look at things through a new lens. However, when we take into consideration everything that's going on with the Bitcoin halving, actually, there's a little bit of consistency here, even in 2020 when we saw the pandemic. So what am I talking about? Well, on the lead up to the Bitcoin halving event, the same year, so Q1 of the year of the halving, this particular movement in that first quarter is usually quite negative. We see a lot of selling pressure in that first quarter before the Bitcoin halving event. So you can go all the way back to the very early stages, and you can see that in the first quarter, before the Bitcoin halving event, we see a retracement. Before an inevitable surge, retracement, and surge. This happens pretty consistently, even through the 2016 period. So quarter one of 2016, you see a retracement. You have the halving event where nothing really happens for a couple of months. And then you get into quarter one of the year after the Bitcoin halving event, and you see a massive pump to the upside. Again, if we were just kind of reflect on the most recent bullish market, that'll be 2021. And we can all kind of look at quarter one of 2021 and see it was very, very aggressive to the upside. And this is pretty consistent across all the various cycles, which brings me to today's topic, right? Which is, although we have these Bitcoin spot ETF approvals just days away, and I say approvals because I think most people are expecting it to be approved rather than delayed or rejected. All are pretty much possible scenarios, but pretty much most people are just expecting the SEC to give it the green light. And so if the SEC do go ahead and approve the Bitcoin spot ETFs, it doesn't negate what we've already kind of been talking about, okay? And that is that quarter one of the year of the halving is usually and historically has been a red period. It's basically been a period where we see massive drops or corrections to the downside for Bitcoin. Sometimes they can be 50%, sometimes they can be 25%. Ultimately, I think for Bitcoin where we sit today, I'm looking for about a 30% correction to get us back down towards $30,000 to $32,000, which is a good strong support for Bitcoin. This would be very consistent with what we see historically with the other Bitcoin halvings, which would mean we're in a real good spot to see real good aggressive growth next year, 2025. And so when we take into consideration that most people who have been anticipating the Bitcoin spot ETF approvals from the SEC were buying into the speculation behind it rather than just waiting for the news to buy. This is also compounded by the institutional level investors. They're likely to have to do their own due diligence before investing. So even if the SEC do approve the Bitcoin spot ETFs, we are likely to see a sell the news event because there isn't really just a line of institutional level investors waiting to deposit capital into these funds. This is all food for thought, but ultimately, I think this week is going to be a critical week for the crypto market and for Bitcoin. I am expecting a lot of selling pressure for Bitcoin and for the wider crypto market. A lot of retail investors might not be appreciative of that, but I think that's ultimately the direction in which we are likely to go. If you're looking for a little bit more about the historical price movements, you should probably check out this video right here.